Liberty City, our favorite New York City clone. Today I'm going to cover why Liberty City was the best map on Grand Theft Auto. Welcome back to Grand Theft Maniac, let's get into the video. Number 3, fictionalized and fractured New York City. The sounds of honking cars, bustling foot traffic, and the rattling screech of above and below ground subway cars is what cements Liberty City as an almost perfect representation of its real world counterpart. Even on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, GTA 4 looked absolutely stunning, despite being oversaturated with this brownish yellow hue as if it were based in a Wes Anderson film. But this only adds to the flavor of Liberty City, both literally and figuratively, given the smog-ridden city it's based upon. So it may not have received updated ray tracing support like its 3D predecessors, but it still takes my breath away each time I return to its narrow streets and dirty alleyways. Although I was born in North Carolina, I grew up in New Jersey, not a mere stone throws away from what that city never sleeps, and that certainly adds in my love for Liberty City. Releasing 7 years after the attack on the World Trade Center, GTA 4 was still imbued with the real threat of terrorism in its plot and setting, all while having a Middle Eastern protagonist take center stage. The story itself may have tiptoed around the really important aspects of what the city was still struggling with in the wake of the attacks, yet the pieces are still there. Note there are no planes in the game, not to mention the towers themselves are likewise not featured. These subtle yet necessary in-game aspects are what elevate GTA 4's version of Liberty City, so much so that I find it even more compelling than GTA 5 Southern California. Immersion and realism are what remains at the heart of the experience, and it shows. Number 2, a setting with a life of its own. The question of which is better, GTA 4 or GTA 5, persists even to this day. While on the surface it may appear relatively cut and dry, with the latter experience remaining the most financially profitable entertainment product ever conceived, GTA 4 still has plenty of words to say in retribution to the naysayers. You see, GTA 4 was way ahead of its time, not merely with introducing the franchise to modern day graphics, but also within the use of environment, ragdoll physics, and most notably NPC AI. That last aspect is arguably the most interesting, as one of GTA 4's poll from 2014 notes GTA 4 as a standout winner in the category of better pedestrian AI mechanics. I myself will never forget reading about how revolutionary the citizens of Liberty City were at the time. That is before the game was even released. Upon its debut, one of the first things I did was tell a variety of NPCs to the city like a freak, and akin to real-world city slickers, pedestrians went about their days as normal as ever, driving to work, flowing through the park, taking photos of landmarks, and much more. And then there's GTA 4's ragdoll physics, provided by Rockstar's newest implementation of Rage and its underlying spark of brilliance feature, Euphoria. As Kirk McKean relates in his 2017 Eurogamer article, if a car hits you in Liberty City, there are countless ways it could play out. Your head could bounce off the bonnet or windscreen, you could be thrown over the top, flipped aside, ran over, it feels like anything could happen. The same goes for shooting a cop in the face with a shotgun or simply bumping into pedestrians on a casual jaunt through the city. In a place of doing anything, Rockstar instead went with a more realistic approach for GTA 4's Liberty City, exactly how McKean describes it, anything could happen. Number 1, the thematic core of GTA 4. Richard Cobbett says it's best in the opening line of his 2018 PC Gamer article, Grand Theft Auto 4 isn't really the story of a poor immigrant looking to make his fortune, but the tale of one city. And it's not just a tale of one city, but of an ever-evolving franchise that is trying to come to grips with its immense success at the same time as trying something absolutely new. That newness came in the form of a rather divergent narrative set piece, straying drastically away from its predecessors by way of its rags to slightly better rags, pale over the long-standing rags to riches GTA formula. For most, this didn't sit well. Players were used to do whatever you want open-world experiences, wherein the main protagonist would always come out on top in the endgame with well over millions, if not billions, and not so hard-earned cash. GTA 4 wasn't like that at all, and it's very much because of its setting. One of the most defining yet vilified mechanics was friendships, which more than often than not gave way to rather useless rewards, but it only amplified the city as a breathing reality. Like how the various random NPCs, even those Niko Bellic was acquainted with, had daily lives and activities to do. This bolstered the city as a cultural melting pot with many moving parts and chess pieces that seemingly mattered even in its gargantuan scope. At the end of the day, while GTA 5 basks in eternal glory, reaping the benefits of consistent updates and next-gen ports, I still remain enthralled with the city that came before it. The city that, in all accords, walked so its sequel could run, or more so, charge headlong into the future. Liberty City, you'll always have a special place in my heart. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.